Houston on 2 for Shane and Casa.
Drew.
Hey Shane, thanks for your patience with us. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to voice up for you the first step. There are enough ins and outs of this that we are going to send up a Jedi message. We won't be able to get that up to you until after this upcoming LOS. So the first thing we'll have you do is go back in the original message, which was the Casa blocked airflow CO2 test you were in, step 5.1. And that will take you into the call-out procedure there. If you have it in front of you, 2.5280, you'll complete all of step 4. Subsequent to completing step 4 in that procedure, we'll have a Jedi message with some additional cleanup steps.
Okay, I'm having now the 2.5.280 step 4.
Yep, that's the one, all of step 4. And then we'll catch up with you after the LOS and hopefully have a message there shortly after.
Do that. Station on 24 in space.
Hey, Thomas, we are ready for you to pick up with the next in-space run, please. You will perform steps 4.1 and 4.2, and then stand by for us to complete some ground commanding, and we'll give you a call for step 5.
Copy 4.1 and 4.2. The 4.1 and 4.2 are complete.
Copy that. Thanks, Thomas.
Экипаж МКС СУПа Москвы в канале СГ-1 по открытию люка ПХО ИСУ МЛМ. Я хотела уточнить, все хорошо там с люком.
Station Moscow on Space to Ground 1 regarding the PHO SU MLM opening, and we just wanted to verify what's going on with it. Go ahead. Well, we're seeing that on our telemetry that the pressure equalization valve cover there is open and the hatch is open. Well, we have it in the electrical control mode. Well, yeah, it is. Did step 2 go well? Yes. We performed step 2. We put on the cover, and everything's looking good. All right. Then we will work with the cover the valve from the ground. Moscow, station on space to ground 1.
Station on 2.
We're looking into it. No crew action at this time.
Moscow, station on space to ground 1. Go ahead.
Связи.
1635. Go ahead. 1635. How do you copy me? They were talking over each other.
Слышим вас. Потеря ориентации
We
с американского сегмента.
copied that you got a LOAC message from USOS. Correct.
Принято. 16:35.
1635. We copy.
Station Houston on 2, we need you in 2.702. This is an actual.
V2702, New York.
Station Houston on space to ground 1, 2.702. This is a LOAC.
Экипаж МКС по Москве в канале СГ-1.
Station Moscow, space to ground 1.
2 for the LOAC, first step 2, any specifics? I think we didn't see anything in the daily summary.
Checking.
Go ahead on space to ground 1.
Необходимо закрыть люк
Oleg,
с MLM.
please close the hatch. PHO SU MLM. Please close PHO SU MLM hatch.
Nothing in step 2. Proceed.
We copy. Will do.
Nothing in step 2, and we're checking the GNC modes on the Russian laptop right now.
Copy, we're following. Station Houston on 2. We are out of attitude by at least 45 degrees and increasing. We want you to run the procedure as written. Rates are stabilizing but not increasing.
We're in message.
Moscow Station on space to ground 1. PHO SMLM hatch is closed. We copy. We confirm we see it on the telemetry.
And Megan, if you could say again that procedure reference.
Station in the blind procedure. Houston, understand you're still with us. We've got one set of crew working step 3 and the other set working step 4 for the starboard sarge.
Okay, copy. In the blind, we have performed 3.1. We do need you to close the windows in 3.2. Also, no action, no further action for you. 5.101. Charges are locked.
Okay, we copy. Charges are locked. The cupola shutters are being closed at this time.
And we copied you, Megan, in 3.3. No actions for you for payloads either.
Okay, we copy. No actions. We're talking about procedure 2.702. Understand no action in 3.3.
Good words. That's a good readback.
Looking at 3.4. Okay, Oleg is going to go work step 3.4.
Okay, Megan, we copy. Okay, and Megan, we're going to have you go to step 6.
Okay, and Houston, we're on stage ground 1 now so that our Russian colleagues can hear us. Understand in 2.702, we're going to step 6.
Good words, 2.702, step 6, and we're with you on space to ground 1. Our Russian crewmates will...
Station Moscow, space to ground 1. Go ahead on space to ground 1.
And Megan, we're back on space to ground 2, so we'll step on.
Oleg, please. Can you confirm or not whether MLM thrusters are still firing? Do you see, do you hear anything? Stand by 1.
Okay, we copy. Stable stack pressure inadvertent.
We
Thruster firing on
do not hear anything. But when there was a maneuver, we could see that there were like flashes,
rates have stabilized.
reflections, as if something was reflecting there, or glares.
For the time being, we just need you in step 6. We do want to make sure, as you know, the comm may be ratty here and unpredictable, but we've got you for now, and we're talking it.
Copy. Please stand by 1.
Okay, Russian segment is working on step 6 and understand ratty comm.
Good words. We're with you.
Moscow station on space to ground 1. Go ahead. I can confirm that the thrusters are still firing. They have just fired and we could feel it. Oleg, we did not copy your last. Could you repeat your last? I can confirm that the thrusters have just fired. I just can't tell you for sure which ones, but we could feel it. Right now. Yes, right now. Copy.
Station on 1 for LOAC, on 2 for
start with you on 1.
On 1, so I see us complete with procedure 2.702 since we are back in thrusters only. Do you concur?
We concur. We concur. Thrusters only. We are not back in control, however.
We'll stand down since we're complete with 2.702 and wait for any additional words.
Okay, we copy, Aki. We're following along. Station Houston on Spacer Ground 1 for Aki and the crew.
And on 1, listen.
Hey, Aki, just to update you guys, so right now we're in a little bit of a tug of war between thrusters firing from both the SM and the MLM, and we're sorting through the best course of action right now. At this point, we have no further actions for you.
Okay, copy. Thanks for the status. No action for the crew at this time. We'll be around, so give us a holler if there's anything we can do.
Copy, Aki, and we think we have about 5 more minutes of S-band.
Copy. And Drew, after 5 minutes, how long of a gap do you think we'll have on S-band?
Checking. Yeah, Aki, we're thinking it may not be till the next pass, which could be 20 minutes or more.
Okay, copy that. And if we low up again, do you want us to take action?
Checking. Station Houston on Spacer Ground 1 for Aki and the crew for a procedure. Okay, Aki, we need you to perform TCS procedure 2.401, part 1, and we need you to send the port charge to -15, -15. That's TCS 2.401, part 1, send the port charge to -15.
Yes, 2.401, part 1, port charge to -15. That's a mark.
That's a good readback. Station Houston on Space Ground 1 for Aki and the crew. Aki, we want to let you know that when you complete that TARG procedure, the SARGs and the TARGs are in a safe configuration.
Okay, copy. After we complete the TARG will be in a safe config.
So effectively, we'll be in a safe configuration for any further LOAC while we get the thruster situation sorted out.
Okay, copy that. Houston,
Last calling, that came in broken.
Drew, just checking to see if we have comm with you all.
We do for the moment, and we believe that we may have a little bit longer than I had initially told you a couple minutes ago, but it's going to continue to be a little bit ratty.
Houston 1, TCS procedure 2.401 part 1 is complete.
Aki, all appendages are in a good configuration. Thanks for the work.
Thank you.
Station Houston on space to ground 1 for big picture words. Hey, Aki, we just want to let you know that right now the SM thrusters are effectively counting the MLM thrusters. We think it's at this rate, it's going to take us about 20 minutes or so to get back in attitude control, but we're going to get more insight when we get commanding back to MLM, which is still about an hour away.
Okay, copy. Looks like the total error, attitude error is decreasing, which is good, but thanks for that heads up.
Yep, you're seeing that correctly. The attitude error is decreasing as the SM is pulling us out of this. Station Houston on space to ground 1. We just, for situational awareness, wanted to let you know that we are briefly in free drift while we switched thrusters to zenith progress.
Okay, copy. No action for us.
Yeah, good read back in. No actions for you. Station Houston on Space to Ground 1 for the crew and big picture words. Aki, we can report that the MLM thrusters are no longer firing. We are back in attitude control. Rates are stable.
Okay, copy all. I'm looking at the total attitude error, and it was coming towards 0, and then it went back up to 1.6. Now it's 1.7. Are we stable?
Yeah, Aki, and that's an expected overshoot.
Okay, copy. Expected overshoot. Thanks.
Yeah, Aki, we just want to let you know, call down with any questions. We're doing a lot of talking in the room right now, and we're feeding you updates every time we've got a good sync point. But please, if you have questions, at this point, we don't have any actions for you, and it's safe to say that the remainder of the day is no longer going to happen as scheduled, of course.
Okay, copy all. Anything about the shutter constraints?
Aki, our preference is for you to keep shutters closed, and we'll just call shutter constraints in place until we call you otherwise.
Okay, until further orders. Thanks.
And you, of course, can open at any time for brief situational awareness.
Okay, copy that.
Good afternoon from Mission Control in Houston and the International Space Station Flight Control Room, rejoining our coverage following this morning's rendezvous and docking of the Nauka Multipurpose Laboratory Module to the International Space Station. That docking occurred this morning at 8:29 a.m. Central Time, 9:29 a.m. Eastern Time. Over the course of the next 3 hours after docking, Russian cosmonauts Oleg Novitsky and Pyotr Dubrov of the Expedition 65 crew were conducting routine leak checks of the interface between the Nauka Multipurpose Laboratory Module and the International Space Station, had opened the hatch on the Zvezda service module side of the docking interface, and Russian flight controllers, along with the two cosmonauts, were in the process of integrating other commanding activities between the newly arrived MLM, or the Nauka, and the Zvezda service module. At 11:45 a.m. Central Time, the Nauka Multipurpose Laboratory Module's thrusters began to fire inadvertently and unexpectedly, and that resulted in the International Space Station going about 45 degrees out of attitude. The crew was never in any danger. The flight control team here in Houston immediately acknowledged the situation. The crew began to work recovery operations on board to regain attitude. The ISS Progress 78 cargo ship that is docked to the Poisk module on the zenith side of the International Space Station's Russian segment was brought into play by the Russian flight control team, who responded very quickly. The Progress thrusters fired, and attitude has now been regained. So the station is back in a normal attitude configuration, while the Russian flight control team works through procedures and ponders how to stop and arrest the thruster firings of the multipurpose laboratory module. Initially, the Zvezda service module picked up on the fact that we were headed out of attitude control and began to counterbalance the thruster firings of Nauka to begin the process of regaining attitude control. That then was handed over to the ISS Progress 78 cargo ship that took over the job of regaining attitude control. There's no explanation at this point as to what precipitated the inadvertent thruster firings on the multipurpose laboratory module. But the Russian flight control team has indicated that when we come back over Russian ground stations about 30 minutes from now, they should be able to send commanding to the multipurpose laboratory module to disable those thrusters on the MLM and prevent any reoccurrence of inadvertent thruster firings that again occurred about 45 minutes ago at 11:45 a.m. Central Time. Again, the crew is not in any danger, never was in any danger, and attitude control has been regained with the International Space Station through first the initial use of Zvezda service module thrusters, and now through the ISS Progress 78 thrusters on the zenith or space-facing side of the International Space Station's Russian segment. Here in the flight control room, the Orbit 2 team of flight controllers, which had been led throughout the course of the morning by the lead MLM flight director, Greg Whitney, he handed over to Zeb Scoville, the current flight director on console. Zeb is on console at the moment. He's talking with his flight controllers, getting updates on the station status. All of the other station systems are operating perfectly, and none of the appendages or structures on the International Space Station were damaged in any way by this sudden loss of attitude control. It is not a common occurrence for attitude control loss to be observed or dealt with, but there are procedures that are implemented at a moment's notice to countermand any effects of a loss of attitude control, such as we saw when the multipurpose laboratory module's thrusters began firing inadvertently at 11:45 a.m. Central Time. At the moment, Flight Director Zeb Scoville is talking to flight controllers, not only here in Houston, but he's talking to his Russian counterpart at the Russian Mission Control Center in Korolyov, just outside of Moscow, along with the flight directors for the Japanese Aerospace Exploration Agency in Scuba, and for the European Space Agency in Oberpfaffenhofen, Germany, at the Columbus Control Center to ensure that they are up to speed on all of the activities that are going on. We have, again, regained attitude control with the International Space Station, and work is underway to understand better what may have precipitated the inadvertent firing of the Nauka multipurpose laboratory module's thrusters. That inadvertent thruster firing began at 11:45 a.m. Central Time, put the International Space Station out of attitude control by about 45 degrees, and work began immediately to countermand that activity and get the station back in the current attitude control that has been reported and relayed to the crew on orbit. This is Mission Control Houston. If you're just joining us, we have rejoined our coverage of this morning's activities that began with the docking of the Nauka multipurpose laboratory module to the International Space Station. That docking occurring at 8:29 a.m. Central Time, 9:29 a.m. Eastern Time. Over the course of the next 3 hours thereafter, Russian cosmonauts Oleg Novitsky and Pyotr Dubrov worked to conduct leak checks at the docking interface between Nauka and the Zvezda service module, to which it docked to its Earth-facing or nadir port that was vacated last Monday with the departure of the Piers docking compartment. The hatch on the service module side of the docking interface had been opened, and work was underway both by the cosmonauts and by Russian flight controllers to integrate the newly arrived Nauka into the logic, the computer logic with the Zvezda service module, when unexpectedly at 11:45 a.m. Central Time, Nauka's thrusters began firing while attached to the International Space Station. This resulted in the International Space Station losing attitude control. About 45 degrees out of attitude is what we are told the station moved out of. The service module thrusters began firing to counterbalance the effect of the thruster firings on the Nauka multipurpose laboratory module. Those thruster firings have now stopped, and attitude control was
camera view that out towards the starboard Sarge, that maybe we saw something there, but we haven't been able to reproduce it since we focused on the camera view. We were wondering if you could put eyes on choosing the best window possible, whether that be drag or cupola, anywhere, to look out to the starboard side, outboard Sarge, to see if you see anything, any debris, any white crystals, anything like that out to the starboard outboard side.
Okay, starboard Sarge, we'll take a look.
Yeah, and just to let you know, we're not seeing any telemetry that would indicate that that there's anything going overboard that shouldn't be right now, but your eyes would be helpful to help us confirm if we're seeing something.
Okay, we'll take a look at it and get back to you.
Hello, Houston Station 1-2 from the cupola. There's nothing of nominal with the starboard Sarge as far as I can tell.
Okay, copy that, Tomas. We appreciate you taking a look.
here in the flight control room, veteran astronaut Drew Morgan, who's acting today as the spacecraft communicator, talking to the crew as they put eyes on structure outside the International Space Station to ensure that no damage was incurred when the station lost attitude control at about 11:45 this morning.
Good. Anything?
Once again, you are listening to coverage of the unexpected thruster firing that began almost an hour ago by the newly arrived Nauka multipurpose laboratory module's thrusters at a time in which Nauka was being integrated into the logic system of the Zvezda service module following its docking to the station earlier this morning.
So, to my reporter on the nadir side from the cupola, Shane tried to see the zenith side from Dragon, but unable to see anything from this the window in Dragon.
Okay, copy. Thanks for taking a look.
Station Commander Aki Hoshide from the Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency, following up on earlier comments by Flight Engineer Thomas Pesquet of the European Space Agency that they don't see anything untoward outside. That's good news. The crew is in great shape, was never in any danger during this episode. Again, Russian flight controllers worked very quickly, sending commands to the Zvezda service module so that its thrusters could fire to counterbalance the effect of the thruster firings from Nauka that resulted in the station temporarily losing attitude control by about 45 degrees. The station is back in attitude control now. The ISS Progress 78, the unpiloted cargo ship that is docked to the zenith side of the Russian segment of the station at the Poisk module, also fired thrusters in what is called roll control to help regain attitude control for the International Space Station. We do not know why the Nauka thrusters began to fire. That is not clear at this point. It will be up to the Russian flight controllers and Roscosmos to decipher exactly what happened as we move along here. But everything is currently in a stable configuration, and recovery operations in the wake of this activity are ongoing. We will remain on the air and will continue to provide updates here in real time as we obtain more information. This is Mission Control Houston. You're watching live coverage as we are back in the International Space Station Flight Control Room at the Johnson Space Center in Houston at Mission Control, where Flight Director Zeb Scoville is on console at this hour. He is joined on console by Flight Director Chloe Mehring and by Spacecraft Communicator Drew Morgan. To recap where we're at here, at 11:45 a.m. Central Time, at about the time that the newly arrived Nauka multipurpose laboratory module was being integrated into the software and computer logic with the Zvezda service module, to which it docked to at 8:29 a.m. Central Time this morning, the Nauka's thrusters began to fire inadvertently and unexpectedly, causing the International Space Station to move out of its normal attitude and orientation, basically a loss of attitude control by about 45 degrees. The Zvezda service module thrusters began to fire to counterbalance that unexpected loss of orientation, joined later by the ISS Progress 78 thrusters to maintain attitude control. The station is back in attitude control. None of the other station systems were adversely affected by this unexpected activity, and the crew was never in any danger, as they have been asked to take photographic documentation of external structures and provide updates on what they're seeing. They have reported that everything is normal on board in terms of other station systems, and they have worked at their end in internal recovery of the attitude control activities that they can while they're in the process of recovering from this activity.
Earlier that the rest of the day is going to not happen as planned, but we wanted to specifically say that thermal amine definitely don't want you doing that activity, and we're going to have words about securing the CASA activity, and also some follow-on words on cleanup for in-space as well.
Okay, no problem. I pretty much cleaned up the CASA stuff, but just let me know whatever you want me to have done there whenever that's available.
Okay, copy it. And we'll take any words on CASA then. Did you clean up per stowage note, or is it just temp stowed in place?
I put the velocity calc in square, plan on back in half CTB, and what else do I do? I have the CDM just on standby right by the CASA.
Okay, copy. We'll make sure that OSO is tracking all that for when we eventually do pick up this activity.
Okay. You want me to go to my PMC or not?
Your call if you want to proceed with the PMC.
Copy. I'll give him a ring.
Okay, copy that. Just to confirm, Shane, you want to go ahead with it?
Only if they're standing by. If they're not there or available, yeah, I don't want to push.
Yeah, they're standing by and ready to support.
This is Mission Control Houston. You heard words from spacecraft communicator Drew Morgan up to the crew members on board the station, Aki Hoshide, the station commander, and Shane Kimbrough, the NASA flight engineer, who is also the commander of the Crew Dragon Endeavour. Basically, the rest of the crew's timeline for the day, which was winding down anyway, has been scrubbed off of the day's schedule so that they can concentrate on activities associated with recovering from the unexpected loss of attitude 1 hour ago. when the Nauka's multipurpose laboratory module thrusters began to fire unexpectedly. Those thruster firings have stopped, and the loss of attitude control was arrested. The station is back in attitude control with the rest of its systems operating in good shape. Here in Mission Control, we're continuing to monitor station systems. Once again, despite the temporary loss of attitude control, which has now been arrested, the station back in normal attitude and orientation. The crew was never in any danger during this episode. The station is in a very stable configuration. We are coming up on a Russian ground station pass, at which time the Russian flight controllers at the Russian Mission Control Center outside of Moscow will be able to begin planning to reconfigure the Nauka's propellant system to ensure that it is operating with a normal configuration as they try to unpack the cause for the inadvertent thruster firing that began at about 11:45 a.m. Central Time this morning.